Hey everyone, we're going to be talking about Hidorian, the Fate Wizard. This is for 2nd edition Catharsis. His playstyle has changed slightly, I would say. A lot. The powers are all new and different. The roll card has some similarities, but it's been reworked as well. So I'm going to start with the roll card, and then we'll get into some of these powers. Um, for the always, we have an always active on him. You're going to store a die with the value of your choice in your dice pool each time you encounter a boss deck card. So whenever you flip over a new boss deck card, that's a countering one. So not each round of combat. Um, Store a value of your choice. You can store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. When activating top abilities, you store the dice at the end of the player attack phase. So if you put a 1 here, it would not store until the end of that round, so you can't get that 1 to use it in the same round. Cool. Top abilities do not exhaust the first time you activate each round. First time you activate them each round, I'll fix that. If you activate a second time, they exhaust. So I can activate this twice, and if I activate it twice, it exhausts as normal, but the first time it doesn't. That's a unique feature of him. We changed that before. You just basically use your 6 powers to store dice. Now you can use the same one if you really need to get a value at the cost of exhausting. Um, you must retrieve dice in your dice pool to activate your bottom abilities. So um, I can't just put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here and activate it. You have to retrieve dice. So you have to get them in your dice pool first, and then later you get them out. He does have a setup card. It's not on here, but there's a setup saying, he starts with 1 of each die in the dice pool, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a setup card that explains retrieve and all that as well. So passive is each time you activate a bottom ability, store a wild die. What? Now Hidorian can store a 7th die, basically a wild die, meaning of any value. So that's a new thing about him. So now he can store basically a question mark, you can say, just a wild die. Um, so in case you need any value later, your passive will help you get that. Flip. He has a new flip ability. This will help him in solo. Reveal the top 2 powers of your player deck. You may activate bottom abilities this round on those powers. Put those powers in a discard at the end of the round. So I could flip my roll card and then reveal the top 2 cards of discard pile and then just activate the bottom abilities on those if I want to by retrieving dice. You don't need your flip or passive to retrieve dice. That's part of your always active. Um, and the second one is target a player. Retrieve up to 10 dice for that player to use to activate their abilities this round. Before it used to be 8 dice and only 2 abilities. Now you can use them as many abilities as possible, but we increase the dice by 2 from 8 to 10. You can only have a max of 10 of each die in your dice pool. This is also on the setup card, so I'll get rid of this later. I was just writing here to remind me to tell you all. So that's his new roll card. Pretty cool. I think he's going to be a lot more flexible, especially in solo, and that's something we wanted to make sure the characters play better in solo. But let's go for the powers. So I can store a 1 or a 2 up here. If I activate this once, I just store the die at the end of the player attack phase. If I activate it a second time because I really want like a 2 or something and I can't get it on my other powers, boom, you store it again, then you exhaust this. The bottom here, you retrieve a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. So you could do this in the very first round of the combat because you start the game with 1 of each die. So if you had this power on your board, you can activate it right away. Draw a power and deal damage equal to the number of letters in that power's title. Discard that power afterwards. Very cool ability. So if I drew like the Fortunate Twin, you would deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16 damage. But if you drew the Demon, you would deal 8 damage. So just, yeah, Void's Embrace. There's a lot of cool stuff you could do. Let's go over the Demon. All of his powers are completely reworked. Ignore the flavor. Some of his flavors for Calexia, a different character. We just haven't got around to doing it yet. The bottom is deal 7 damage, deal target player 2 damage, deal 11 damage, deal target player 4 damage, 15, 6. Instantly kill a non-boss enemy, target player dies. So if you're playing a 4-player game, and you're fighting a really tough enemy that's not a boss, this is a possible avenue to go down towards. Only 2 dice to activate this too, but it's just a lot of bad stuff that's happening to players. So yeah. Here's a nice one. Gain 2 morale and replace this power. And then you remove the power. You remove this power from the game. So you can't get it back to use it again. 2 morale is pretty good. It's 8 dice because he can retrieve 100 dice if he... Well, he could retrieve 60 because that would be the max he can get, not counting wild dice. But yeah, you can easily do this. The Void's Embrace. Instantly kill a non-boss enemy, remove this power from the game. So, again, another really, like a one-hit kill. But you remove this from the game, and then you're down a power on your player board for the whole game. Maybe it's good to use towards the end on a tough enemy. Or you could just keep it around as a storage option and a damage absorption. This one, you could store 3 of, the die, like 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s. But it deals yourself 1 damage. So if you activate this twice, you would deal yourself 2 damage and exhaust this. So we made the more flexible storage options do effects or negative things to the character of the party. The Gambit, roll 6 dice, deal yourself 6 damage, deal 10 damage, deal 14 damage, deal 17 damage. And remember, you can't alter dice, like you can't adjust dice used on abilities. That is in the rulebook. You can only adjust dice to activate abilities. So 34 or more, remove this power from the game. You gain for the rest of the game each time you store a die and make an attack dealing 1 damage. Really cool, because that means you just activate your top abilities. You store 6 dice every round, and you get like Swordsman in your game, and you're storing 12 dice a round. This would be absolutely nuts. It's almost impossible to hit it because you got to get extremely lucky. It's more likely you deal yourself 6 damage. But it's a fun ability, and no, go for it. The Feast, roll 6 dice and add those values to your dice pool. All enemies gain 1 armor for us as combat. So you're paying 5 dice to store 6 dice. But remember, each time you activate a bottom ability, store a wild die. So you're actually storing 7 dice here. You pull 5, you pull 5 of a kind, so 5 5s, and then roll 6 dice, and you get all those values. So if you need different values, it's a great ability to use, and you also get that wild die. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about on him? Yeah, just to go back to his flip again, if you're looking at your player board, you're like, man, I don't really want to activate any of these. Remember, you can flip it and get access to 2 other powers. You can't use those powers to take damage or anything. They're just, you can only flip to basically activate the bottoms of those abilities, of those powers. Activate the bottom abilities of those powers. So that's Hidorian. Hopefully you guys like the new powers and the theme and just the fun of them. They're really strong because Hidorian should be strong. He's an angel, and we wanted to make the powers more unique for him, and I think we nailed that. So, and one thing about Hidorian is there's a goal for 10 extra powers for him, so he may have 30 powers. So that's another cool thing. So, but we'll see and see if we can get those extra 10 powers. But for now, thank you for watching and take care. Bye.